What is up, everybody? This is JP representing jpfitnesspro.com. If you guys want one-on-one training, small group training, online training, or nutrition meal plans, please check out my website, jpfitnesspro.com. That is the easiest way to get into contact with me, or you can message me on any of my social media platforms. I'm always checking those. All right, today's episode of the Exercise Science Podcast is it's a little bit less about the hard sciences and more just in general about people who want to achieve their goals and can't get there. And I don't want to say it's necessarily about like motivation or something around that, but it's just kind of talking about maybe obstacles that you have in reaching your goals. So we're going to kind of break this down into a couple parts, two main parts, and one is nutrition and then one is working out. Again, people have problems with different things. Now, let's start with working out in general. Again, people who have goals with working out, who have goals with the way they want to look or how much muscle they want to gain, or they want to feel better from working out, or they just want to get stronger, or whatever your goals are working out. Almost anyone who goes to the gym has some sort of goal. And some popular goals are, again, get stronger, gain muscle, and then lose weight. Those are the three things that I like to focus on when it comes to what I kind of like study, what I prefer to look at. It's because one, they're like the most common things. It's like weight management, getting stronger, and gaining muscle. But also they're just interesting topics. But usually people have goals that are centered around that. And when it comes to actually working out, that is a good way to achieve your goal. Obviously, if you're a guy and you want to gain muscle, you got to go to the gym. Now, if you're someone who is not necessarily trying to gain muscle and you want to lose weight, I always say that the best way to lose weight is to perform some form of cardio, to perform some form of lifting of any sort, and then to be in an intelligent caloric restriction. Those three things are going to almost absolutely ensure that you lose weight. Now, you can do it with just intelligent caloric restriction. You don't necessarily need to do cardio or lift weights. But again, if you ask someone, is that your ideal body type, they say no. So when it comes to going to the gym, I recommend it. It's best for optimal weight loss. But at the same time, people, it's just not even for optimal weight loss. People usually want to look a certain way. If you ask women, a lot of women say, I want a big butt, I want nice looking legs. And then the term they use, which again, I don't want to say it irks me, but I guess it kind of does, is they want to tone their upper body, which basically just means they want to gain some muscle in their upper body. They want to lose some fat, but they don't want to get too big, which won't happen anyways, just due to the hormonal profile that women have. But the point is that whatever your goals are, you usually have to go to the gym for that. And now I'll be the first to admit that when it comes to the workout part and the nutrition part is usually where people drop the ball most when it comes to actually doing it. Most people don't mind going to the gym. A lot of people don't, but there are people who struggle with it. And the gym part is it's still something in that I recommend you do. So let's go over some common problems when it comes to the gym, since again, I recommend that you do it for weight loss. You probably need to do it for what you want, for the ideal look you have in your head of what you want to look like. So usually when people go to the gym, there's a few problems. Is one, people try to talk about money. And again, I understand that people are in certain money problems, but I just recommend that you stop with the excuses about money. Again, I've put up a video on this. I put up multiple videos on this. You don't even need a gym membership to do it. So when it comes to working out, if you're using the money excuse, I just suggest let's just say you can only save $1 a week. That's an absolutely ridiculous scenario. You could probably ask someone for $5, a random person, and I guarantee you could get $5 in a day. Now, I'm not saying go and do that, but I'm just saying that saving $1 a week is a very harsh example of someone who would be absolutely broke. And that's a worst case scenario. If you could save $1 a week, then in 20 weeks, 21 weeks, which is just 4 months, you could have your own set of bands. And I've talked about this. I talked about it on my Instagram. I've uploaded a video about it. But is that bands, you can have a whole workout with a set of bands. A set of bands can get you a whole entire workout. So again, if money's your problem with not going to the gym, or if that's your reasoning or excuse, I would just get rid of it. You might have to cut corners somewhere. I mean, you have to ask yourself, like, do you ever get Starbucks? Do you ever eat out? Do you have a subscription to something that you usually kind of like, but you don't want here and there? Sometimes you're going to have to make up a little bit of a sacrifice to be able to get that gym membership. So if that's the problem, I'd get rid of it right there. But that's not a huge problem with that. Now, another problem that I see that comes up with a working out is time. If time is what's stopping you from working out, I suggest a couple of things. One, just make time. You need to absolutely make time. You need to put it as a higher priority on your to-do list. It just bothers me when people say they don't have enough time, because one, I think that they're just being a little dishonest. Unless you're working 16, 17, 18-hour work days, I'm talking about directly non-stop work where you don't get any sort of break, then you cannot say that you don't have time. Most people you're lying if you say you work 16, 17-hour work days. And if you're like, well, I'm not saying that everyone who says that is lying, but most people are. And if you're saying, well, I honestly do, or I don't work 16 or 17 hours, but I work 9 hours, then I go to college and I'm also a parent. Well, again, you can still make time. Again, if you can do home workouts, there's certain things that you can do. And that kind of comes into my next point, is that you can make time because your workouts do not have to be that long. And this is where, like, again, me being a personal trainer could help somebody. And I'm not trying to sit here and sell it to you, but I'm just saying, if you're not someone who studies exercise science fully, then you maybe don't get that, how someone can structure a workout to make it effective within little time. Again, there's drop sets, supersets, antagonist paired sets that you can all combine in a workout to make them to kind of make them really, really dense workouts that you don't have to so you don't have to have really long workouts. What you make up for in maybe time, what you lose in time, you maybe make up for in like density. So again, you don't have to have super long workouts. I mean, if I had to, dig deep and take some time to write a good program for someone, if they said, I have maybe 15 minutes 3 times a week, which is 45 minutes a week. If everyone has 45 minutes for an entire week available, I could write down 3 workouts and for 45 minutes, easy. For 15 minutes each, easy. It is easy. Again, you have to be very efficient during the workout. I mean, if you're gonna and it doesn't even have to be at a gym. Again, this could be just bands at home. But again, I could write a workout that would fit 15 minutes, 15 minutes, and 15 minutes. So again, if time's a reason that you're not working out, there's the good counter I made to that, and you need to start finding out your priorities. Now, a little bit more of onto the next one, but a little bit more of a, I don't want to say hard thing to deal with, but I think that's more of a flat out honest answer would be like, okay, well, I'm either lazy or I try to go to the gym, and I just fall off. Like, let's just say you're someone who goes to the gym. Let's just say you're not using any of the excuses I said earlier. You're not trying to say you don't have time. You're not trying to say that you don't have money. Let's just say you have a gym membership, but you start to work out, and then eventually sometimes you get lazy and you don't go, and then you end up falling off. What I recommend is just try little tactics to remind you about your why. You need to find out your why. That's plain and simple. Why do you go to the gym to begin with? Like, for example, me. When I was younger, I was overweight. I just wasn't a very healthy young kid, and I did not look. I was chubby. Clearly no visible abs. Could maybe do a couple pull-ups. Maybe 15, 20 push-ups, 15 push-ups max, which again for guys, that's not good at all. And then that might have been an exaggeration. I might have been around 10 push-ups, good push-ups. And then, like, run times absolutely terrible. I looked like complete dog shit. Um, yeah, and just being chubby when I was younger. In high school, I went on the wrestling. I was on the wrestling team, and with all that cardio that I did, I got really skinny, really skinny. I lost a lot of weight in wrestling. Obviously, wrestling is a brutal sport. Uh, and for those who, I mean, it's a ridiculous distinction, but just for those who don't know, I don't mean, I mean high school wrestling, like folk style. I don't mean like I didn't try to do WWE or anything like that. And those of you who are doing wrestling are like, yeah, I know that, but trust me, some people get that mixed up. But so yeah, I lost a lot of weight there, but I've had periods in my life where I've gained back weight, lost weight, gained back weight, lost weight, just because I fell off too. I'm not perfect, and I went in the Marine Corps. Again, lost a lot of weight, got out the Marine Corps, gained weight, and I just had periods in my life where I just wasn't fit, and I get tired of it. My why is I'm just tired of looking at myself and not being proud of myself. I'm tired of waking up and feeling like complete shit about myself. I don't like the way I look. I hate it. I don't like, and I'm just being honest. Like, sorry if you don't like the language, but I don't like waking up feeling like a weak little bitch. I just don't. For myself, I'm not comparing it to someone else. Those are the feelings that I get. I want to wake up and I want to be proud of myself. I want to say, okay, well, I'm working every day. I'm busting my ass in the gym, and I'm hitting my personal records. I'm reaching my PRs. I'm reaching my goals, and I like seeing the development of my body. I don't want to be that fat little kid who feels sorry for himself. I'm done with that. I don't want to do that, and that's why I work out pretty. That's why I work out pretty often. But you need to find out your why. If it's like it could be there's lots of different whys out there. Maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're not like me. Maybe you're someone who's always been super skinny and you got picked on when you were younger, and you don't want to be skinny. You want to be a strong individual. You want to look at yourself or you want to be able to lift a lot of weight. You don't want to be labeled as that kid who's too tiny. You want to get jacked. You want to gain muscle and you want to be strong. I mean, and then you might have to think a little bit deeper. Why do you want to feel strong? Why is it that is it that you care what other people think, or is it just, you kind of have to think about it, or it could just be something like maybe you're not proud of that when you're weaker, or maybe that it's you being strong. You feel proud of that. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm just saying that you should. Maybe there's a deeper reason for those reasons, but you need to find your why. And you need to think about it real hard, and you need to find ways to kind of incorporate that why so you don't end up skipping the gym or falling off. There's a million things that go into this. I mean, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, some people are just too far gone in the sense of not caring. Then there's those people who are on the border. Like, sometimes it just comes down to raw discipline and going to the gym. Sometimes thinking about your why doesn't help for some people. Sometimes some people just lack a ton of discipline. They go, then they start falling off. The thing is, you just have to have like certain patterns of reasoning. Like in my head, like, you have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, you're not going to reach your goals with the working out. If you don't kind of have like an objective line in your head with you being wrong with the working out, then you're kind of setting yourself up for not going. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, if you have to work out 4 times a week, you have to tell yourself that you have to work out 4 times a week. It can't be I'll if I do it, maybe I'll do. No, there's no maybes, there's no buts, you have to have that line where if you don't do that, you are now in the wrong. What I see a lot of times with people is they don't set these lines for themselves so that when they do this thing, it's not bad. Like, for example, let's just say you don't set a line for yourself and you tell yourself, oh, maybe I'll work out 4 times this week. If you don't work out 4 times, it's not a bad thing, because you didn't say you had to. You just said, maybe I will. So, because you didn't set that definitive line is, no, I have to work out 4 times this week. If I don't work out 4 times this week, I'm not doing the workout program that I set for myself. I am now in the wrong. And, honestly, give yourself good grades on that. Give yourself a mental note. Be like, wow, last week I did 2 workouts and I was supposed to do 4. I did 50% of my workouts, 50% of 100, and any grading systems an F. I got an F. Try to think of it like that. If you really think of it like that and say, well, I have this goal. What's my why? I have, I want to look like, for example, a why that I heard from a lot of people is that for people who have kids, this is actually a good why. This is a good example. Is that for people who have kids, I've heard that they don't want to be that parent that isn't active with their kids. They don't want to be that parent that their kids when they look up to, they think unfit or big, or and that's what I thought. Like, I don't have kids and I don't ever plan to, but if I ever did, I would want to be the dad that's like, I don't want to be the dad that my son's beating because I'm unfit. That a kid doesn't look up to that. I want to be the dad that's faster than my son, so he thinks, wow, my dad's so fast. And then I can tell him, you could be just like me. When you could do better than me. But again, kids look up to older individuals, and if your kid's faster than you, if you get winded from just running 10 feet, or you can't even kick a ball with your kid, I mean, that's not something that I don't think any parent would be proud of. So if that's your why, just think about your kid. Be like, okay, well, you need to find your why. You need to hone in on it and remember it. Maybe write it down in your phone. Maybe make mental notes. Maybe every single time you feel like not going to the gym, just look at your why and think hard about it. Say, I'm really not going to the gym for this reason because of what? Why am I not going to the gym, and why should I? I am not going to the gym because I just feel a little lazy. So I'm gonna let a little bit of laziness stop me from feeling better about myself, from gaining muscle, from making my kids proud, from making myself feel like a strong individual, like because I used to get picked on. Whatever your why is, you're really gonna let a little bit of laziness overshadow you reaching or conquering your why. Again, I don't think that's worth it, not even close. And again, you just have to kind of think of it in that sense. So so to kind of sum up that last point, if your problem is that you get lazy or you fall off and you just can't be consistent with it or stick to a program, or you go to these starting a gym for a month, stop it for a while, starting a gym, you have to think about your why. And your why, you need to think about your why, and you need to do the gym when you're in your worst moods. And I'm not saying that on a really bad day you just skip the gym and you save it for another time. Here and there, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if you only start to work out when you're in a good, motivated mood, that's what spawns those cycles of starting the gym, stopping the gym, starting the gym, stopping the gym. Because again, that's what happens with a lot of people. They get motivated, they see all this potential, they're like, I see it a billion times, a billion trillion times. It's all over the internet. I mean, it is so evident. You just have to look. This isn't a hidden thing. It's everywhere. You'll see people think they'll be in their heads getting super motivated, saying, wow, next week I'm about to start my amazing new diet. And that hormonal rush they get from just something new. Oh, I'm ready to go. Yes, it's a new diet, new me. And it's extremely fucking corny. I'm not going to lie. It's corny because, seeing it, you're like, the only fucking reason you're saying that is because you're in a good mood. They bullshit. Like, it's because you're in a good mood. That's it. And I think that not every single time you're in a bad mood, you have to do what you said you're going to do. Not every single time. There's going to be some times where you just have a very bad day and you're like, fuck it, I'm not going to the gym today. But you cannot do that every single time you're not in the mood. You cannot do that. Because if you do that, then that's going to lead to those cycles of starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and then you just not being consistent. And consistency is the key for anything. I'd rather someone miss one day every 2 weeks of working out for the rest of their life. Every 2 weeks, they skip a day. Then someone do good for 4 weeks and then do bad for 6. Do good for 5, off for 4. Again, you're not going to see results like that. So again, you just have to find your why, and you have to use that why, and you have to kind of meet yourself in the middle. If you have a terrible day, then you might need to say, okay, I'm not going to go to the gym. But you can't do that every single time. If you only go to the gym when you're in a good mood, and you feel like it, and you're someone who struggled with going to the gym in the past, trust me, you're going to have a hard time going in general. So those are kind of the main points with working out, and like trying to kind of cover some topics of what might be stopping you. If you have any questions about the working out, you could put them down below from wherever you're watching this. And I say that now in the middle because I don't want you to forget. Now on the nutrition part, and some of the problems with nutrition are the same, and some of them are vastly different. So we'll get into the ones that are the same real quick. If you're saying that you okay, yeah, and it's funny because they're very similar, but the first two, if you're saying that you can't eat healthy, or you can't do this with nutrition because of time, or yeah, it's because of time. This is the same thing with working out. Is I have to eat at McDonald's because I don't have time. Again, that's just an excuse. That is an excuse. Most people have 1 day off a week. They do. And if they don't, then you have some time off. But most people, 99.99999% of people, I would say maybe 1 out of every 5,000 works 7 full days a week. The rest of you have at least 1 day off. Meal prep. There you go. That's the solution right there. And if you say, no, I don't want to meal prep, then again, that's just you saying no. You can meal prep healthy meals and get them ready throughout the week. So again, time isn't an excuse. You can find time to make healthy food. And even then, I'm not saying eat unhealthy, but I'm saying if your goals, and one of the main goals for nutrition, the main primary goal, which is most people's, to lose weight, you can still eat out and intelligently calorically restrict. So yeah, even if you are eating out, if you're not losing weight, then you're just eating too much and you're choosing the wrong things. These days, there's a lot of healthy food options out there, and again, losing weight ultimately comes down to caloric balance. So you need to be in a negative caloric balance to lose weight. And I always use intelligent with that term, intelligent caloric restriction, because you can't be eating 500 calories a day and expect to be healthy. So again, if time's a factor for you, that's not a good excuse. If you want to message me directly, I can give you some more specific tips for your circumstance on how to kind of beat the time example. But now on to the next one is money. And this is a huge one too, is people say, I don't have enough money to eat healthy. Again, which is complete bullshit. It's bullshit. I know it's bullshit. And again, you either don't understand how to use your money, and because if you're buying unhealthy food, there's cheap alternatives that are just as cheap. Vegetables are extremely cheap. Again, if you can't buy them fresh, just buy them frozen. That's fine. You can eat them frozen. And the whole fresh is better than frozen. I've seen good content with cited sources that cover that basically that frozen vegetables are much worse. And this is another topic for another time, but just to sum it up in a sentence, if you're saying that, I don't want to eat frozen vegetables, no, that's again you're putting up more barriers to stop you from wanting to eat healthy. You need to stop with the barriers. If you're purposely putting up barriers so you don't have to eat healthy, and you're creating these fake barriers, you're doing that to yourself. So no, 100% no, eating healthy is not more expensive than eating unhealthy. Again, there are certain things you can buy. Now, if you eat healthy and you're trying to eat like Chipotle and Subway for every single meal, of course it's going to add up then. But again, vegetables aren't expensive. Grains aren't expensive. You can buy rice, which isn't expensive. Chickpeas aren't expensive. Beans aren't expensive. Things like that just aren't expensive. I can go down a long list of foods that aren't expensive that are healthy. And yet, so money is not a problem. If you're eating at all and you're not living off of someone else, if you're spending your own money on food, then there are healthy options out there. Again, beans, chickpeas, grains, pastas, vegetables. There's 5 quick options off the top of my head that if you mix and match, there's plenty of different types of beans. There's lots of stuff out there that's real cheap, that's healthy. So again, if your goal is to lose weight, which is most people's goal, if your goal is to lose weight, then if you claim healthy food is expensive, then how are you still not losing weight with unhealthy food? Because again, the main driver for losing weight is just intelligent caloric restriction. So that just means you're eating a lot too much of unhealthy food. And if your goal is to save money, which again, if you're saying your problem is money, then why are you eating in excess unhealthy foods. You're eating more foods faster, which means you have to buy foods faster, which means you're actually costing your own self money. If you were in an intelligent caloric restriction and eating less food, you would have more, the food would last longer that you have, and you'd save money. So money must not be that big of an issue if you're eating too much food. If your goal is to lose weight. Now, if your goal is to gain weight and you're saying I don't have enough money, you might need to be, again, a little bit. You might have to get a little creative in what you do and what types of food you're eating. Again, you might just be making not the right choices when it comes to what types of foods you eat. But again, if you thought real hard about it, come up with a list, go to your store and went down the aisles and made a list of the cheapest stuff that you can buy maybe in bulk, so it lasts longer and you're getting it at a discount. Yeah, and then again, you might have to compromise some places. You might not get the name brand foods and things like that. But again, money's not an issue. Again, I think time and money are very easy they're very easy excuses to get past because they're very objective. We know how much time we have, and you can calculate time, make a schedule. Same thing with money. It's objective. There's this costs this, I got this much money, and you can tell someone right when if they're bullshitting or not. I'm not saying every single person doesn't have real honest excuses for these, but I think they're few and far in between. There are some people who are just so broke, they're working their ass off. They might be in some weird scenario where they just don't have the money. They truly don't have the money. But again, when it comes to money for eating healthy, I disagree. But like, for example, what if someone's trying to gain weight and they have to eat more food and they don't have enough money to eat more food and they're in some weird scenario where they can't? That's different. Losing weight is different from gaining weight. Gaining weight, you have to eat more. Losing weight, you just have to eat less food. So if you're already eating food, then and you're big and you're trying to lose weight, that doesn't make any sense. All right, now on to the more kind of like with the working out, on the more hard aspect of nutrition, and that is the discipline side of it, and some common things you may hear with people in nutrition, and it's just like, again, I'll just be very direct. We don't even have to like sugarcoat the excuses. Is one, they like the taste, or people like the taste of unhealthy foods usually a lot more than unhealthy foods. And with that is, I feel like you need to kind of widen your palate a little bit. Now, by that I don't mean just start eating foods that you don't like. I'm just saying is that if you guys didn't know, I'm vegan. And when I made that change from non-vegan to vegan, I thought the same thing that most people did when they who aren't vegan, is what do you eat? Oh man, I'm gonna miss all these foods. But going vegan, I'm like, wow, I found so many foods that I will pass a lie detector test, any type of test, and to prove that statement, I found so many foods that I absolutely love. I love them. I absolutely love them just as much, if not more, than the foods I ate before. So if you get creative with foods that you like that are healthy, then you're going to have a list of foods that you can actually enjoy that are healthy. I just recommend you taking some time and writing a list of foods that you like that are healthy. Just go down simple things. Most people have some fruit that they like. They do. I hardly come across people who say, I hate every single fruit. I know some people are like, oh, I don't really like bananas. Oh, but I love strawberries. Or I don't like, grapefruit. I hate grapefruit, but I don't mind a good orange. Stuff like that. Write down some fruit that you like. And then go down vegetables. Me, like personally, vegetables, I'm not a big fan of green beans. I think peas are alright. What other vegetables? I'm not a big fan of bell pepper. I really am not. I'm talking specifically about me. If it's cooked really good, I can eat it, but I'm not a huge fan of bell pepper. But on the other hand, like, I love broccoli, especially when it's cooked. Asparagus, corn is great. Grilled onions are real good. See, those are some that I like. I don't like. There's some I don't like and some I do like. And I just go down the list and find out stuff that's healthy that you do like. Like me, I can come up with healthy meals that I like a lot. Tofu scramble is one of them. Pasta, and when I say pasta, I don't mean pasta loaded with a bunch of crap. I mean actual healthy pasta. Again, like, there's like, I don't really have names for them, but they're like for example, I have like a mix I make with it's like cooked vegetables, rice, a little bit of soy sauce and hot sauce in a bowl, and it's healthy. It tastes really, really, really good. I put tofu in it too. It's real good. Again, I love the foods that I eat. I absolutely love them. So you just have to come up with foods that are healthy that you like. So if it's like like you don't like the food that's healthy, I think you just need to meet yourself in the middle. You can't be stubborn and say, "Oh no, I don't like healthy food, so I'm not gonna eat them." No, you're just being a brat. I'm being straightforward. You're being a brat. You need to take time to find some healthy foods, like widen your palate and be open minded. And trust me, I'm not saying if there's a food you honestly don't like, don't eat it. But there's gonna be foods that you like that are healthy if you're not stubborn and you're open minded. Now, like other goals that are other things that might come in the way when it comes to like the discipline aspect is like, for example, you maybe it's just like you it's not that you don't like healthy food, but I don't want to say you're addicted, but you just like the unhealthy food a lot. Maybe you're someone who's saying, "Oh, it's not that I don't like healthy food. I do like healthy food. I just like these a lot more." What I would recommend is don't cut those out completely. I don't ever ask anyone to cut out foods that they absolutely that they love eating 100%. I don't think that's the way to do it. Now, I have to make one note there real quick, and if it pisses you off, it pisses you off. But and I don't condone obviously eating meat, so I don't mean in that sense. Most of the stuff I'm talking when I'm running it in my head is like when I say unhealthy food and snacks, I'm thinking vegan. Again, I don't think there's any a moral justification to eat animal products. So in that sense, I think everyone should stop eating animal products. But now I'm back onto the topic is that like for example, if someone's eating like a snack or something that's unhealthy, I don't recommend them. Obviously, if there's no health problem in the line of it, like with diabetes or something, if this is like a health individual without any like extreme disease like that, then I don't recommend you cut out those snacks completely. So if it's not that you don't like healthy food, because you do, but you just don't want to get rid of these other foods that you like a lot, like the unhealthy fast food, you don't have to. You just have to meet yourself in the middle. You just have them sometimes. It's all about consistency and what you do most of the time. If most of the time you eat healthy, you're going to be a generally healthy individual. If most of the time you're eating food that's shit for you, then you're going to feel like shit and you're probably going to look like shit. So, again, I just recommend you maybe set yourself a limit. Like that line I told you earlier, you need to have a line. There can't be some like wishy-washy, "Oh, well, I'll just have this food sometimes." No, sometimes isn't a number. When you say sometimes, you're never in the wrong. Sometimes could be 5 times a week. Sometimes could be one time a week. What I recommend is you set a number. For someone just starting out and cutting, I recommend one medium-sized quote-unquote cheat meal a week and one unhealthy snack a week. So space them out. Maybe have your unhealthy snack on Tuesday and have your cheat meal on Friday, so that you only have 3-4 days max in between each either unhealthy snack or meal. And again, so that's where you don't get deprived, you know. And if you're eating good most of the time, then you'll look good and you'll feel good. But again, it's so using both of these instances, if you're eating healthy food that you love because you've wrote down a list, you're eating food that you like most of the time. 2, if you're not completely cutting out the foods that aren't healthy for you and you're eating them in moderation, think about that. How does that sound bad? You're eating foods that you like most of the time and then you're not deprived of the stuff you like. That to me is a fair middle ground that you can have with yourself. Now, if you're someone who, again, if you're just being a brat and you're like, "No, I want more, I want this, or I can't do that," then you're not going to reach your goals. And it goes back to same thing with nutrition. And this is the last part I'll talk about is finding your why. You have to find your why with nutrition too. If your goal is to lose weight, it's the same thing with working out, is you need to find your why. If you have to ask yourself this question, if you're like, "Okay, well, why am I not budging on this? Like, am I really about to let like the fact that I don't want to eat the healthy foods that I enjoy?" Because you should have wrote a list of foods that you enjoy, and somewhat controlling the foods that that are unhealthy that I do enjoy. Because again, I didn't say you can never have them. I think that's a bad. If you're one of those people that likes going 100% and cutting out everything, the more power to you. Go ahead and do it. But if you're one of those people that struggles with that, I don't think you should cut it out, because again, you're gonna go absolutely batshit insane if you just go 100% and cut all the food that you like out of your life. Trust me, the adherence to that is gonna be real low. Now, some people can do that. Like me on my cuts, yeah, I'm pretty strict. I don't have anything bad. It's usually pretty good. I'm like 99% good. But if you're one of those people that needs to have it. So think about it. If you're saying that you can't do that, that's not even asking something ridiculous of you. I'm not asking you to eat unhealthy foods. I'm not asking you to eat foods that you don't like. I'm not asking you to cut out foods that you that you enjoy completely. I'm not asking you to remove all your snacks. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing anything ridiculous. I'm not asking you to eat the foods that you just absolutely despise. I'm just asking you to meet in that middle. Now, if you can't handle that middle, you need to think about your why. You need to say, okay, am I really not doing these things that's not even unreasonable for this why that I want to conquer, Like, I was picked on when I was younger because I was fat, and I hate the feeling of being fat. I can't do this to reach my goal and get that six-pack I want. Then, that might not be a strong enough why for you. You may need to have some inner talk with yourself on on why you aren't doing that, like, really. And it might just come down to, and I'm just being straightforward to you listening to this, you might just be being a brat. You might be being a little bit ridiculous and kind of weak-minded. You might need to stop feeling sorry for yourself and start getting a little bit disciplined and buckled down, because again, at the end of the day, like, there are people who care about lots of people, but at the end of the day, I can't worry about everyone's problems, and there's probably no one can worry about everyone's problems. So again, I just recommend you look at your why and remember that remember your why when you're being stubborn and you don't want to eat in the middle. Remember your why when you want to take an extra cheat meal when you shouldn't. Remember your why when you want to eat larger portions than you should have. Just think about your why. If it's to be healthier for your kids, it's to look better, because to lose weight because you were picked on because you were fat when you're younger. It's because you're naturally skinny and you never had muscle in your life. Is it just because you want to be proud of yourself? It might be because I'm tired of waking up feeling disgusted with the way I look. Think about it. Is that disgust really worth that brief moment of pleasure? I think of it like this. Working out, and I'll close the podcast out with this statement, is I think of like it's almost like they're opposites. Eating and not working out, eating unhealthy foods and not working out is brief moments of pleasure. Guess what? Some people hate working out. So when they're not working out, it's that moment of pleasure that they would have otherwise been having unpleasure. And then eating the food, bad food, is a brief moment of pleasure. But what it is brief moments of pleasure followed by long moments of displeasure. And by long moments, it's the rest of life you have to live. You have to live the rest of your life with that body that you don't like, with those feelings like you feel like shit, because when you're fat, you have lots of, if you're overweight or obese, you have a lot of health problems. And I'm not saying all do, but I'm saying that generally leads to more health problems, and you might feel terrible when you eat food that's shit. You feel like shit. So on top of, you have this, so for brief moments of pleasure, you have long moments of feeling like shit, and displeasure. Now, eating healthy and working out is the opposite. For brief moments of tolerance, you might eat a healthy meal where you're like, this tastes pretty good. It's not my favorite food, but it tastes pretty good. And then working out, you're like, oh, this 30 minutes or an hour of working out is a brief moment of where I'm uncomfortable. But then the opposite happens, is that's a brief moment. Now, long moments, the rest of your life, you feel great, you look better. So think about it. It's like flip-flop. What would you rather have? 10 moments displeasure and or 10% displeasure and 90% pleasure? Or would you rather have the other way around? When you're eating unhealthy and skipping those workouts, you're essentially doing that. You're getting this brief, small window of a release for the rest of the time you exist, which is most of the time you're not eating. If you time the times that you're eating or you're not working out, it's not much. The rest of the time you feel like shit, and then you probably, in your eyes, you probably look like shit. So again, just think about those whys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you guys have any questions, comments, please post them down below. If you guys have any recommendations for future videos, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.